Good afternoon and welcome to session Collaboration of the Win. Thanks to our partner, Co-operatives First, for sponsoring the session today, and I'd like to welcome Audra Kruger, Executive Director, to come and say a few words about their organization and introduce the panelists.
Good afternoon. My name is Audra Kruger and I'm the Executive Director for Co-operatives First. Created in 2015 by the Cooperative Retailing System through Federated Cooperative Limited, Cooperatives First has a mandate and funding to promote and support business development based on the cooperative model in rural and Indigenous communities across Western Canada. Our goal is to inspire people in these communities to start co-ops. We also provide financial and structural supports to help facilitate the startup process. Thanks in part to partnerships with universities, economic development officers, Chamber of Commerce, and business professionals across Western Canada, we offer online courses and workshops such as the Good Governance Matter workshop, online tools and resources including our free online business plan creator, phone and in-person support, a streamlined incorporation process, business plans, feasibility studies, and some legal supports, as well as access to an impressive network of business professionals. We have assisted over 150 groups since 2015, proving that collaboration is definitely the way forward. It's my pleasure to be here today to introduce this session featuring an award-winning group of collaborators that were able to identify their common asset and promote it in a heartwarming and memorable way. Today we have Jana Rowe. She's here from Lac La Biche County, and she heads up the tourism and economic development portfolio for the county. We also have Mary Lee Pryor, who you will know as current VP of EDA and incoming president for 2021. We also have Luke Patton, the tourism and economic development officer for Athabasca County. And we also have Jim Bauer, the founder of Seekers Media, and he was the executive producer of the Take It Outside campaign of 2019.
Good day, fellow EDA 2020 experiencers, and welcome to a presentation that is sure to leave you inspired around the power of digital media towards destination development and in building business. Thank you to the EDA and this fall 2020 platform that allows you to sit back, crack a cold one if you got one, and join myself and my esteemed panelists inviting you to virtually hit the road and take it to the lake. Thank you for joining us over this next hour where we respectfully acknowledge that we are delivering this infotainment session from Edmonton, located in Treaty 6 territory, traditional lands of First Nations and Métis people. Please meet my fellow colleagues for our Take It to the Lake fireside chat. Good day, panelists. EDA experiencers, please allow me to introduce you to Jana Rowe, Economic Development and Tourism Lead for Lac La Biche County, Diane Jenkinson, Economic Development and Tourism Lead for the MD of Bonnyville, Economic Development and Tourism Lead for Town of Vermilion, and also your EDA President, Mary Lee Pryor. And last but not least, Luke Patton, Economic Development and Tourism Lead for Athabasca County. I appreciate you all for joining me today and delivering some pretty powerful insights. I'm your moderator, Jim Barr, founder of Seekers Media and co-producer of Take It to the Lake. All right, let's get into this. And listen up, your chance to win a Take It to the Lake experience series is coming up at the end of this presentation. But first, let's set the Take It to the Lake stage with this quick video introducing you to the region. Over this past year, so much has changed in such a short amount of time. Have a look at some of these stats. This slide shows the findings of a fall 2020 Harvard Business Review listing social media, video, and content marketing as the forms of communication in our new normal. As you can appreciate, during this pandemic, our audience's screen time has shot up significantly. Well, check this out. This slide amazes me. Take a look at this. Did we just break the internet?
I think we might have.
This is it, folks. This is your time to see your community break the internet. This is now the new name of the game. And so how is your community and your neighbors' communities going to rise above and generate the attention it deserves? A digital-first approach might be just the way you and your community and your business community builds back better. And we hope you agree after taking a look at trends like this. As you can see in this graph, over the first 3 months of this pandemic, online shopping receipts have eclipsed all e-commerce activity from the past 10 years combined. Now is the time to strike. And as our panelists will explain today, Take It to the Lake has been a catalyst for so much more than a few likes and some social media shares. For years, northeastern Alberta wasn't on many people's map. Working to change that, the Lac La Biche County and the MD of Bonnyville looked at their common asset, the great outdoors and the bounty of lakes in the region, to come up with a campaign to change the conversation around what they have to offer and to put their flag on the map. Diane, Jana, being the founders of this campaign, can you start us off with a bit of history to the Take It to the Lake partnership? Diane, please describe for us, how did this partnership get started? Take us over a bit of the timeline.
Well, for a little over 18 years, Bonnyville, Cold Lake, and the Lac La Biche region have worked together doing various campaigns. And then in 2013, we hit on the Take It to the Lake hashtag and banner and started off with that. And then 2 years ago, Vermilion came on board. And then last year, Athabasca came on board.
Nice.
So, and we hope to continue building it in northeastern Alberta as well.
Nice one. Janet, can you talk about maybe a few advances that this partnership has seen? Like, you know, where is it morphed to? Or is it morphed into something that you thought it couldn't?
So I wouldn't say that it morphed into something I thought it couldn't, because everything's possible, but the campaign really has evolved into being more of a destination development tool, from content production to actually creating that community pride, growing more of the regional collaborations, so including Vermilion and Athabasca, Métis Crossing this year, and continuing to grow that partnerships in and around the region, because destination development is really not about the destination itself, it's more about the travel route to get there.
Mm-hmm. Nice one. As the Take It to the Lake panelists explained, working together does not just mean you lose individual autonomy. When done right, all boats can rise with the same tide. Mary Lee, for Vermilion, it's a tide that's risen its business development efforts. Can you introduce your community's impacts for collaborating? But before you start, let's let our EDA 2020 experiencers head for a quick road trip into Vermilion via this video. Mary Lee, my first question for you is, how have you leveraged Take It to the Lake to help the world understand what's on Main Street, Vermilion?
Well, I think through Take It to the Lake, we needed to leverage our downtown core. We've done quite a bit of work in our downtown core over the last few years. And we leveraged it through showcasing our businesses. So we don't have a lake in our community. We have the Vermilion River, which you can canoe on in that. But we focused more on what you can do after you've done your rowing or your hike through the provincial park. We focused on our businesses. We have some really unique businesses in the downtown core, such as the Copper Cork Distillery. Craig's Cornerstone has done a huge amount of work on restoring the building and adding new businesses. And I guess that leads to our business licenses. Over the last 3 or 4 years, we've seen over 40 new business licenses, mostly in the retail side, come into Vermilion. And I credit the exposure we've gotten through Take It to the Lake.
And would you say that this partnership has supported new investment? Like you talk about those business licenses. So, what is that spurring within the community?
I think it's spurring new investment. I think we've had great investment in all sectors of our community over the last few years. Mostly in regards to Take It to the Lake, it would be the retail sector. So more coffee shops, we have a new distillery, we have some pop-up shops, that type of thing. But our community overall is growing as well, and I think it's a spiral effect. I think when one sector starts growing, the other does too. So we've seen quite a bit of growth in our agricultural industry as well, and hoping that brings more tourism to our area, and that's why we're joining with Take It to the Lake, Athabasca and Bonnyville to profile our community.
Yeah, it's interesting. In terms of this summer, Vermilion, you've been a leader in the province for its digital media efforts, pioneering new paths in how content can act as a path to conversion. Can you introduce the audience to a bit about Vermilion Online, the Alberta Urban Municipalities Association's award-winning project, which became the template for the Take It to the Lake showcase that we'll talk about a little bit later?
So we started, along with Take It to the Lake, we started hashtagging Vermilion Online. Part of it was through the COVID pandemic that happened this year. Through that, we started to put any of our businesses, we worked with our businesses to put any of them that weren't online to help them get online. We created a separate directory within our business directory that said Shop Online Vermilion, and focused on that. And then we went into an online festival. So.
Nice one. And as mentioned, we'll touch back on that in a bit, because that Take It to the Lake showcase was spurred out of that. But
it was, yes.
I'd love to hear from Luke from Athabasca County, in terms of asking you to explain about how this collaboration has empowered the region. But first, for those who haven't had the chance to visit, here's a quick video to help you learn about what's open for business in Athabasca County. So Luke, what would you say it takes to make a collaboration like this successful?
Well, Jim, I think everything in life starts with a good relationship, and relationships should be based on a posture of gentleness and understanding and respect. I think those are some of the key characteristics that excited Athabasca County and the Athabasca region about joining the Take It to the Lake organization. It's been an exemplary initiative of what a partnership really means and how it can prosper.
You talk about, and please talk about growth strategies and smart growth strategies. How does that apply to Take It to the Lake?
Well, I think as we combine our individual strengths as a region, we get an opportunity to not just profile ourselves, but we profile each other. I think we're leveraging the visibility of one community, helping to expand the visibility of another. So I think all around we all benefit from the collective foundation that we create.
And finally, maybe Luke, if you could touch base on, say, the key element of success, like what would you say the key effort or the key element to a partnership like this is in terms of generating success?
Well, you know, I mentioned early on, I think working together, partnerships can be fruitful and they could be unfruitful. I think if we all pursue the same common goal, we have shared goals, we have shared experiences, we share our resources and our assets, there's no way that we can fail.
We move a little further down east and on our road trip and invite you to click into the county of Lac La Biche with this video showcasing its cultural connections. And so for you, Jana, what has Take It to the Lake done for the county and for northern eastern Alberta's destination development efforts?
So specifically for Lac La Biche County, I mean, it really has helped our community minds to revisit the possibility of becoming a destination, taking it more from just being a recreational destination to be more of a tourism experience destination. We've actually seen a couple of businesses that have started up because of the Take It to the Lake efforts. We've seen a few more businesses that have expanded or diversified what their offerings were. One specific one would be Off-Road Adventures. So they previously were a service company for oil and gas, and they did rentals to various different oil and gas companies. And they expanded into the tourism market with the intention that they were offering an experience. So they actually created Off-Road Adventures. They had a few paddle boards and kayaks, but over the last couple of years, they've really seen that with Lac La Biche County putting the effort and the funding behind Take It to the Lake, that we're serious about developing as a destination. And with more than just Lac La Biche, it's again about that travel route. So it's about who's our neighbors, because if people are coming up to Lac La Biche County, they're not just going to make one trip there and stop when they get there. They're going to make those stops along the way. So that's when, inviting others in the Northeast region and really supporting that development as a whole so that it's more than just one municipality. It's about breaking down those jurisdictional boundaries and working together to create those destinations.
Absolutely. How about building diversity and destination awareness? Did and is Take It to the Lake aiding in this respect?
So Northeast Alberta is very, very strong in their Indigenous populations. So with First Nations and Métis settlements, we have a ton of them. And with Indigenous tourism and the growing sector within it, it is primed for us to continue that diversification as far as culturally. Within Lac La Biche County, we have also got a very large Russian population. We've got a very large French population. And we've also got one of the largest concentrations of Lebanese per capita within our Lac La Biche hamlet. So within the Northeast region, though, it's really Take It to the Lake and destination development can really support that Indigenous tourism growth and diversifying into taking away from some of that stigma of being always an oil and gas area and bringing in more of that tourism side. the European markets, they are craving Indigenous tourism, and we've got it right there in our backyard. We just need to mold it.
Interesting. Talk a little bit about like the critical mass or the change of conversation within the locals themselves. Do you think that this Take It to the Lake has altered their perception of where they live and what they have to offer?
Oh, for sure. For sure. We had so many comments coming out of the 2019 Take It to the Lake campaign that locals that had moved away and were seeing the videos were amazed, and they were so proudful of where they came from, or the locals that were there that were they realized that, oh yeah, we've got a really, really great hidden little gem, and why are we not making a little bit more use of it in our economic efforts?
Diane from the MD of Bonnyville is here to talk about how the MD has risen to the occasion by living on lake time. But first, let's jump on an ATV for a tour around the MD for a look at one of their up-and-coming key destination stakeholders. Diane, talk to us a little bit about what it means for the district when we talk about living on lake time, and how does Take It to the Lake play into the MD's economic development strategy?
Well, for the MD of Bonnyville, they've made a point of building up their campgrounds. So even from the very beginning, when the MD decided to purchase or lease campgrounds from the province in the 90s, they put caretakers in the campgrounds, so they wanted to attract families and everything, not the partiers necessarily. And then over the years, they have added electricity, and then they have added other campgrounds. So we have backcountry camping, we have full service camping, and then this year we'll be expanding our most popular campground, the Cold Lake MD Park. And then we have put a significant amount of money into Vezo Beach. We are adding boat launches to the campgrounds, and then actually adding some boat launches around lakes for additional lake adventures. So people can access them. Not necessarily do you have to come to camp, but you can access the lakes just for residents and for people who just want to visit for the day.
Amazing. And so what has success looked like for the MD from Take It to the Lake?
From Take It to the Lake, year over year, we've increased our number of registrations, so number of campers, the number of camping nights. So they've increased for the last 2 years by 15%. So, and then we opened up seasonally Mario Lake for the first time this year, and that increased because Mario Lake has been, the water has been receding a little bit, so we decided to open it seasonally for seasonal campers, and that increased 64% with the campaign this year.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So then I guess my last question for you on this respect is, in terms of if there's any merit to the comment, you can't start economic development until there's been a visit. And how is that relevant to Take It to the Lake outcomes?
I think that for us, we did the Take It to the Lake to kind of promote that, the living on lake time, that relaxation outdoors. And for us, it's brought a lot of people to the area. And for a lot of people who come, I think for both Lac La Biche and for the Bonnyville Cold Lake area, we see people moving to the area. And then we also see business people moving to the area as well through because of our campaign.
And now more than ever, there's certainly some huge opportunities that way as people from the cities look for rural communities to put some new legs and some new roots into things. So
Definitely.
Congratulations. As I hope you can hear from our panelists today, working together is simply better. Why? Because in a world where it's increasingly hard to be heard, collaboration not only builds lasting co-opetition, but when done right, it can put your region on the map with lasting engagements. Here's a quote from Travel Alberta, an approach I know this panel lives by. It says, if you want to build something quick, do it yourself. But if you want to build something that lasts, partner. What this panel has built in Take It to the Lake is not just something that lasts, but something that's winning awards. 2019, the collective took the Economic Development Association of Canada's Marketing Awards for Best in Country for Collaborative Marketing. Here's some of the quick facts and the quick stats for Take It to the Lake. Since going digital in 2017, the collaboration has seen over 400 people use the tag Take It to the Lake across social media, showcasing the experiences and discoveries to be had in Alberta's Northeast. The partnership has generated over 550,000 story reads and video views about Athabasca, Vermilion, Lac La Biche, and the MD of Bonnyville, entrepreneurs and the region's experience providers. Over the past 4 years, Take It to the Lake has generated a social media reach to over 2.5 million, and it's generated over 90,000 social media engagements, likes, shares, and referrals about Alberta's Northeast. Sure, we could sit here and fill your brain with all kinds of numbers, but instead let's hear it from each of our panelists regarding the impacts that the collaboration has generated for their communities. Janice, start us off with what you would say is the number one thing that this collaboration has brought to the community.
I'd say the number one thing that this collaboration has brought to Lac La Biche County is the hope that we can become a destination of choice in Alberta. And we couldn't do that without the support of our surrounding communities.
So how would you suggest our EDA experiencers recreate this for their communities?
Work with your neighbors. Work with your neighbors and work with your businesses and your experience operators within your community. Work with your community as a whole to really embrace who you are. And don't be afraid about who you are, because we're all different, and that's what makes our experiences unique.
Diane, what would you say as far as the number one thing in terms of outcome?
I think with the partnership, we have seen more and more people see being the tourism business as something that you can build on. So we have seen some of our tourism businesses that started out, say, 10 years ago. They have expanded. Hamilton House Bed and Breakfast, they have become a wedding destination. They have built a cabin on an island, so they offer some really nice kind of outdoor experience that way. And then we have people who have started an outdoor charter fishing business for anglers fishing tours, so both for winter tourism and for summer tourism. And then we see our tourism operators also, so they start out as summer tourism operators, and then they build into winter tourism operators as well. So all season. And then for the MD of Bonnyville, we are starting Adventure Park. That should open in 2021. And so we'll have an all-season destination at Kinnessoo Ridge. So you can come off the lake, have lunch, enjoy the Adventure Park, and then come back in the winter and enjoy the ski hill.
So interesting in terms of as the province works to evolve into new opportunities, what would you say advice-wise you would give to our EDA experiencers about how to recreate this transition economy within their communities?
I would say that you really do have to work together. One community can't do it on its own. And then that's what we do in the Northeast, because Cold Lake, Bonnyville Cold Lake area is at the end of the line on Highway 28, so we definitely have to have things along the way like Métis Crossing, and then you jaunt off to St. Paul or Lac La Biche. You can do a circle tour coming up Highway 16, going through Vermilion. So definitely to build on the tourism in our region, you definitely have to work together.
What about you, Luke? What do you think the top impact from this collaborative has been for Athabasca County?
So, Jim, you know, we're pretty new in the partnership. I think one of the big things is that we have become a mutual service consortia. What that has done actually is we've strengthened our intermunicipal relationships, especially from an economic development perspective. I think more than anything else, though, is the fact that the outside world, because of Take It to the Lake, hashtag Take It to the Lake, becoming familiar with the fact that we exist, and at the same time, they also discover that they won't come out to Athabasca just for the sake of going to Athabasca. There are other things around Athabasca that they can explore, such as our fellow partner communities.
And so then again, as a piece of advice for our EDA experiencers, what should they take home today? What would you want to mention to them in terms of how to recreate that magic for themselves?
Well, I think as the other two panelists, both Jana and Diane have said, you have to think out of the box. You've got to reach out. You've got to extend. Partnerships take time. They take commitment. They're like relationships, like any relationship. You begin courting, it's a great idea, everybody wants to be together. Then you get into it and you realize you all have different points of view. It's being able to be committed to one core purpose, understanding, respecting, as I said earlier on, and success is inevitable. You just, you have to be patient and flexible.
And last but not least, Mary Lee, yourself, in terms of a Vermilion perspective, what's been the number one thing for you in terms of impact or output?
Well, I have to say that when we first joined Take It to the Lake, I think there was a number of people wondering, we don't have a lake, why are we joining? But as Diane mentioned, we are a route up to some of the other lakes. We do have a provincial park within our town limits, which is unique to our community. We have a river that you can row on, and there's walking trails, splash park, you name it in the park there. So it can be an overnight stay on the way to a larger lake. But Vermilion has always thought we're bigger than we are for a little town. We've heard that from many people that we think we're bigger than we are, or we act like a city when we're just a little community. But the thing we found is we never got the traction as marketing ourselves by ourselves. And I think we market better together as a region, and we hold a stronger voice in the province and nationally and internationally.
And so then if there was a piece of advice for those watching right now, what would you say? How do they recreate this magic for themselves?
I think they have to talk to the communities around them. It's interesting that you say that, because when we won the Economic Developers of Canada Award, when I sat back down at my table at the conference, somebody leaned over to me and said, how do you belong with those communities that you were up there with? Like, you're a municipality and they are counties or have lakes. And I think it's what Luke said, you have to think outside of the box. You have to think, how do I get that greater voice, and who can I join with to make a destination?
Collaboration works.
It does.
New for the 2020 edition to Take It to the Lake was the add-on of Canada's newest Indigenous attraction, Métis Crossing, which has furthered the partnership's potentials as a reconciliation vehicle. If you search the hashtag Take It to the Lake, in addition to all the recreation content, you'll find stories from the past few years that celebrates the region's Métis and Indigenous connections. Destinations like Métis Crossing and Métis Experience operators across the region connect travelers to the land and helps to further celebrate opportunities audiences have to enjoy the outdoors in a way that can transform. In the year 2020, a content strategy and an approach that promotes and showcases diversity is more important than ever. So where next? What does the future of Take It to the Lake look like? As Mary Lee introduced earlier in our fireside chat, next to the addition of Métis Crossing for 2020 was a Take It to the Lake showcase, an entrepreneurial empowerment project layered on top of the collective's content production and marketing efforts. This online community showcase left a wake of additional online content used to build business. Weekly, through the height of the campaign, producers and experience providers from across Alberta's Northeast were first trained, who then went live on their business's Facebook page and were left with tips and tricks on how to do more with digital, building and sustaining an online buzz. The results were pretty impressive, as you can see from this graph, with over 71% of those business owners participating experiencing a minimum 3% growth in their business within 30 days after their participation. It's these types of innovation that keeps the Take It to the Lake needle moving. Back to you, Mary Lee. When you see and when you think about Northeast Alberta and this collaboration, where is it growing into 2021?
I think we can only get bigger and better. I think what we're seeing in our region is more communities calling us and wanting to be part of the Take It to the Lake group because they're seeing that we're getting traction as a group and noticed, and our region is getting noticed, and they want to be a part of it. So I think it can only, the sky's the limit.
Diane, how do you see things unfolding next year?
I think we'll see more like chambers and stuff kind of taking some of what we've done and doing it within their community, because we've seen it with the Cold Lake and Bonnyville Chamber, kind of using a creator showcase that was done by Seekers Media and for the COVID times, so trying to promote to shop local and things like that. Because what they're hearing from our operators, I know that Anglers Fishing Tours, they noticed a real boost in calls after they did their Facebook Live. So our tourism operators are out there talking about everything that they're learning through the showcase and from Seekers Media, and they're promoting that to other businesses in the community, and the chambers, the local chambers, are picking up on that.
Jana, what's your perspective and future for Take It to the Lake?
Honestly, I think it can only grow. We're just building the momentum, so there's still a lot of room for growth. There's more communities that will come on board, I'm sure, and that we need to come on board in order to continue the growth. But really, 2019's success trickled over into 2020's results, and that's just getting started. So we've got so much momentum to continue forward, and with COVID, people are really thinking about getting to the outdoors, and so our summer season we were full. And that was fantastic, and we'll continue to see that going forward. And I think Take It to the Lake was a huge part of the reason why.
Luke, finish us off with regards to futures. Where do you see this partnership or the collaboration growing to 2021?
Well, you know, Jim, COVID-19 has brought a lot of global affliction, and we have also experienced in our communities the impacts of COVID-19. However, it's been a blessing in disguise to some degree as well, because COVID-19 has instilled across the partnership the ability to look at obstacles and surmount them. I think that is a key moving forward, being able to surmount the obstacles. In so doing, we're opening new doors as well. So the future of this partnership is limitless. I totally share the sentiments of my colleagues here. It's limitless, and I think we are going to, once we continue nurturing the way we have in the past, we'll only get stronger. And as I said at the beginning, success is unavoidable.
Nice one. Well said. We've got a few more minutes here, Diane, and I would just appreciate, in terms of any final thoughts that you have for our EDA experiencers today, in terms of just thinking about things in new ways, and look at what you've created in terms of where this grew from 2013 to today. You know, what is it? What's your final thoughts around what they could take with this or take away from today?
I think it is key to partner with your neighbors, and then also to create partnerships within your community between the businesses as well. But you can't really, I think, move forward unless you're looking at that kind of collaboration.
Jana, for you, final thoughts in terms of any advice or anything that you'd want to get out there in terms of just final details around what's happened here or otherwise?
I think if there's more collaborative efforts going on within our province, that it's just going to make our province stronger as a whole. I mean, leveraging our neighbors' audiences and utilizing our own to leverage their audiences, it's key, and I think we can take a lot away from working together and learning about that province-wide.
Luke, in terms of your final thoughts or additional advice for those that are watching now?
You mean my second final thoughts?
Yes, please.
You know, Shakespeare once said that some men are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Well, you know, we're a community that we did not have greatness thrust upon us. but we're certainly showing that through this collaborative effort that we will achieve greatness.
Mary Lee, talk about it maybe from an EDA perspective, in terms of what you're seeing from a provincial standpoint, as president of this organization. How do you see this collaboration spur provincially and or ideally provide more opportunities for those that are a part of EDA?
I think it helps sustain our communities from an EDA perspective. And I mean, from an EDA perspective, we're here to promote economic development, help our members learn about economic development, and help their communities be sustainable. So Take It to the Lake fits right in there. It's just perfect. From a town of Vermilion perspective, the one thing I wanted to speak to, Diane brought up, was, partner not only regionally, but with your businesses or your people in your community. And the one thing I'd like to speak to there is don't assume that I don't assume that I know everything, and I don't assume that my businesses know everything. So sometimes I think because we assume we know, we don't partner with the neighbor or we don't go talk to that business, and they might be your key to success. So I think, go out there, be aggressive, talk to everybody like they're your neighbor, and don't assume that they're not going to want to partner with you.
Yeah, and those assumptions are more than recognizing and not going there in terms of making those assumptions are now more important than ever.
It is, particularly now that we're, there's more things online with the pandemic, and I'm just very, very happy that I've partnered with Take It to the Lake and the communities within it.
And more opportunities coming online all the time in terms of stimulus programs and different things that we're seeing, whether it's through Community Futures or efforts through the EDA or otherwise, in terms of communities to really take this opportunity to recreate themselves and move forward in a new way. Well, now it's over to you, our 2020 EDA experiencers. This is your chance to make the most of our presentation today and win by participating in our live quiz. What's up for grabs? Each of our panelists have all put in a community experience, and one lucky winner is going to take home the opportunity to hit the road in 2021 to live out what you've heard about and what you've seen today. Each of our panelists are including a night accommodation, if not two, and a Take It to the Lake experience, making up our Take It to the Lake experience series. This is an actual road trip where we know you won't forget, and we know that you'll become one of the hundreds of others who have shared their northeastern Alberta experience. If you haven't had the chance yet, you're invited to see what's in store by simply searching hashtag Take It to the Lake on your social media channel of choice. We'd love to sit and talk more, as we have lots more to share from this award-winning partnership, but we've got s'mores to make. So thanks for joining us today, and please let us know your thoughts of our presentation by using hashtag EDA 2020 and hashtag Take It to the Lake.
I don't think our marshmallows are done.
Do we remember the chocolate? It's dark, right?